Hi and welcome to the eCommerce Mastery Facebook Live. My name is Matt Edmundson and I am here with the talented, beautiful and all-round top person, Beth.
Thank you. And hello.
So Beth joins us for the Facebook Live for self-esteem, is that right?
Yes, that's
So
the only reason I do this.
So welcome to the show. We are here to talk about e-commerce business, how to do e-commerce, how to make it bigger, better, and all that sort of good stuff, right? So what are we talking about today, Beth?
Today's kind of on the theme of strategy and team. So kind of different. It's not about all the techie stuff. It's about the team stuff.
The fluffy stuff.
The fluffy stuff. Because there's quite a lot of fluffy stuff in the e-commerce mastery course, you know, like it's all helpful, but actually it's all of it. It's big picture overall mastery course thing. So, mentoring in the workplace, how to lead people that know more than you. So, the question is, do you struggle to lead people who know more than you?
Well, let's assume that none of these people are actually watching the show. I don't think I struggle to lead people that know more than me. I quite enjoy leading people that know more than me.
And what we mean by that is kind of like web developers and people like that.
Yeah,
right?
the tech guys that use language like you've never heard, you know, and that sort of
Even
stuff.
design people do it as well.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm a bit more au fait with that
That's
language.
that, yeah. You are kind of a bit of a designer as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I can bridge the gap. I can also understand some of the tech stuff because I used to code years ago. When I say years ago, I mean years ago.
Yeah.
In fact, our tech guy, our top tech guy, Mark, who's been on the show, when he first joined us years ago, he didn't know any code. I was the one that taught him how to do the initial code.
Wow.
In fact, I wrote the code for the very first Jersey Beauty Company website back in 2006.
Look
It
at
was
that.
the last bit of code that
Do
I
you
wrote.
think most e-commerce entrepreneurs or e-commerce business owners will start that way though? Or do you think...
No, not at all. I think
will
most people,
understand
I think that, and this is my experience, right? I came an unusual route. My experience is that actually most people that run e-commerce websites have e-commerce websites because their business was doing something over here, and e-commerce became a bolt-on because they thought they needed to start selling stuff online.
Oh, okay, so they weren't doing it to start with, but then... Because
So the classic, exactly.
Yeah.
So the classic example
Yeah.
that we just shot a video where we used it is the guy that owns a golf shop, right? He sells golf products in his golf shop. Knows everything about golf, loves golf. You know, knows the clubs, knows the brands. He's like a guru in golf. But he's kind of looking at his little store, thinking, I need to be over here selling this stuff online. I need to have a website, which is what everybody started to do years ago. And so they're like, well, let me put an e-commerce website up. Okay. So he knows everything about golf, very little about e-commerce. And so I would say that is where most people that run e-commerce websites
So they know about the product
from.
more than they know about the how to do e-commerce.
And so then they'll go to a developer or a designer, hoping that they'll know all the answers, which of course they don't. God love our web designers, but they don't know all the answers, especially about e-commerce.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a lot of people in the early days who gave me a lot of advice. Well, meaning advice, you know, great people who I thought knew more than me because they understood the lingo and how to talk the language, right? So yeah, in the early days we did.
So what's different now then? So you've met a lot of people that are like trusting their web developers, very confused about how to actually lead people that know more than them in that respect in e-commerce.
It's really tricky actually. I think one of the things that I've seen people struggle with a lot is, and I don't know if you're the same, right? You run your e-commerce business, but trying to tell your developer what you should do and why you should do it becomes really hard because he'll start to throw language back at you which you don't get, you don't understand.
Yeah.
And so this is where it can be hard in e-commerce to lead people who know more than you, right? Because you don't know what they know. So maybe they do have all the answers. But then I guess you can get philosophical and say, is leading always about giving direction and telling people what to do? Or is it about drawing the best out of people and getting them on the right line?
Cool. So, in that case, that brings us on to mentoring, kind of a little bit.
Did you see what we did the segue?
Yeah. You did a little segue there. I thought you were just going to mention the word mentoring, and then I was like, how am I going to mention it?
Segue.
So you use mentoring basically, so you get it.
Yeah, one of the things that we do is we definitely do that. We definitely like to mentor folks, and in fact, everybody in our organisation. I'm just trying to just double check in my thinking that what I'm about to say is true. Everybody that works in our organisation, we've never hired the superstar.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody who works here started off much lower down the food chain, if I can put it that way. It sounds really horrible, but do you know what I mean? They started off doing... So when you started, what did you start doing?
Customer service. Well, before that, kind of like helping Rachel, who was the... What was Rachel?
She was like
a marketing / project manager.
She was just amazing, wasn't she, Rachel? She did everything.
All things good.
Yeah.
Person.
She was fab.
And I just started helping her out, and then did customer service, and then...
So you've kind of segued, and now you're head of our marketing,
I don't think I was very good at helping Rachel.
You should find out from Rachel.
You're not helping
Maybe
me.
I'll see her. Yeah, but... that's really
go do
funny.
something else now.
Yeah, go do something else. Let's put you on customer service and get you out of the way. And so you've kind of worked up the ranks, right? And now you're head of the marketing, and so that process, that we go through is all about mentoring, right, and training people up and establishing people, rather than trying to go and get the superstar guy.
Okay, so why do we do that then? Why do we do mentoring?
I think. Why do we do mentoring, I think, is a great question. And why do we choose to do it that way is maybe a separate question. But mentoring is great in the sense that why I do it is it means that if I can train you up, right, if I can help you in some way to get really good at what it is that you do, I don't have to be good at that, right? And I can release you to get on and do what it is that you're good at. So I can stop micromanaging. I can stop trying to think I have all the answers, which, let me tell you, is exhausting. And it also means actually you enjoy what you're doing a little bit more, because you're not working for some guys always telling you what to do. You get to think, right, and get to breathe your own little bit. And so it stops that whole process. It releases people just to be really great. And if I've done my job well, if I've done it right, then I can totally trust you in doing that, because you'll be tied in totally to the culture and values of the company.
Okay, that's cool. How do you do that then? How?
So how do we do mentoring?
It's a big program, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a book in its own right? But we like alliterations. It's just kind of how I've grown up, right? Okay. Nick Harding, alliterations. And so I would say mentoring is about three key things, right? It's about confidence, it's about challenge, and it's about culture. Okay, so confidence. What you have to do as the mentoree, or are you the mentoring person, whatever you're the person doing the mentoring.
Mentor.
You're the mentor.
You are the mentor.
Yeah, you're the mentoree.
Yeah.
I'm the mentor.
Yeah.
Have I got that right, brain? Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
It's late and my brain's fried. So if I'm the mentor, right, my job is to get you to feel confident, right? To believe that actually you've got the skills to do this, you've got the talent to do this, and to get your confidence to grow in the role that you have. Because if you don't have that self-belief or that confidence, well, I've not started anything, right? So it's about building confidence. It's also about challenge. It's also like, how can I challenge you? How can I make you better? How can I help you grow? That will be a case of providing training or opportunities to get trained up. It'll be a case of going, that's okay, Beth, but if we thought about this differently, would it work better? And challenging maybe some of the things that you do. And thirdly, I say it's about culture. So it's about confidence, about challenge, but it's also about culture in the sense that I as the leader of this organization, I have to focus a lot on culture and making sure that our company sort of follows our values and goes along with that, and so mentoring gets to shape people and gets our culture instilled into them. That's and cool. So if I inspire confidence in you, if I challenge you and help you really get to grips with the culture of this business, then you'll fly.
And what in the challenging bit though, so if you're going to challenge like a web developer as the e-commerce business owner, how do you do that if you don't know about web development?
One of the easiest ways is just to say why.
Okay.
So I've done this quite a lot actually with people who it's great. They'll start talking a language. If they're talking a language which you don't really understand, and they're using words which you don't really get, they're doing it for one of two reasons, right? One is they don't actually realise you don't know what they're talking about. They're just so comfortable with that talk that they don't even
that makes sense,
they don't even need to think they have to explain that to you. Or two, they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes a little bit and blag it, right? Baffle you with science. So for me, I like to clarify. There's another C, clarify. So when people say things to me, I've got to the stage now where in life where I don't mind going to that person and saying, you know what, I'm not being funny, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you please explain that? What does that mean? Can you help me to understand that? By asking questions like that, I'm going to quickly find out whether this person is trying to confuse me deliberately or whether they're just off on one and they've not thought to. Now, that's going to help me understand that, right? So if they've just gone off on one and they just need me to help them understand that I don't understand, then 9 times out of 10 I go, oh yeah, okay, let me explain that to you, okay? And so then you can understand it, and then I think you can ask questions, right? Because everything technical can be broken down into something really simple, and you can just ask the question, well, why should we do it that way? What happens if we do it this way? What's the implications of that, right? So that's the challenge, that's the question. The why, the what if, the how questions are usually really, really good. Cool.
That's really helpful. So we've kind of like, we had our web developers, we didn't know what to do with them. Now we're going to mentor them. What are you going to say? We need to give people who are watching this, e-commerce business owners who are watching this, a bit of a plan. Where can they start with mentoring? What should they do?
Well, so if we're talking about web designers, I guess the question is, are they working for you or are they working for another company, right? Okay. So are you contracting them? Because mentoring people that you're contracting to is very different to mentoring your staff, if that makes sense. Both of whom I think need to really fully get and understand your culture and your values. But let's talk about mentoring staff. Okay, which is more what we've done. So we brought Mark on board years ago. I was saying this before we started, didn't we? Mark, when he joined, he's been with us however long now, and he's kind of grown up through the ranks, and he's now the head of our tech. And so how do we go about doing that? What's the sort of plan? Well, you've written your 3-step plan down here, haven't you?
I've got a 3-step plan, yeah.
Yeah, I like your 3-step plan. It's what we did.
Regroup. We did, yeah.
We did. We regrouped.
I've experienced this.
We do this a lot. We regroup, and we've regrouped. And you can always look back actually over the story of our company. You can find key turning points, the pivot points as we like to call them, where we regrouped. So the first key one I think was in 2012, where we decided actually we really needed to define the culture of our business. We'd not really done that. 2010, 2011. We decided, let's become a values-led business. Let's become much stronger on our culture. So we regrouped to redefine that. We decided to become much more than just a company that just shifted product. We wanted to do good in the world. We wanted to, we sort of focused on our values. That was a regroup. We do that quite often though, don't we? We sort of regroup. It's like, let's regroup, let's rethink. So when even things like marketing,
that's the probably most recent one where we thought, okay, lots of ideas are flying around, let's regroup it and bring it back into one big amazing plan that you wrote down yesterday. We put it on one single piece of paper, which is super helpful. I like I like this because what it's meant this is totally off piece now, I appreciate that, but I'm totally loving this phrase, random acts of marketing, right? So what this has meant is, because we need to regroup, is I'm often the guy that comes into the office and go, I've had this great idea, let's do this. Or the classic example, Amazon Prime. They had Prime Day, haven't they, this week? And so I'm like, gosh, Amazon have got Amazon Prime Day. What can we do? Let's do Jersey Prime Day or something like that. And Beth and Brendan and all the guys that do marketing, they're all like... We all received this email and we're like, this is a random act of marketing. This does not fit into our big plan.
This is not going to happen. We've regrouped, Matt, and so we're not doing this anymore. And so I was like, okay. So they, those kind of things happen, don't they? Where you kind of reset what it is you're doing and rethink.
Yeah. So number 2, so after you've done that regroup thing, number 2 is monthly meetings. That's the next step for you.
Yeah, monthly meetings I think are super important. I wouldn't say I'm totally perfect at this, but on the whole, I try and grab a meeting with the key people
So like
once a month, just catch up. Yeah, with the clients, catch up with clients, whether catch up with the guys here at Jersey or whatever. I think that regular catch-up meeting that has an agenda, has a purpose, has a reason, just to sort of catch up and feedback, I think is super important. And I like the fact that we do our meetings with a few people involved, because that breeds peer accountability, which is super, super powerful. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of meetings for meeting's sake, but a regular strategy meeting every month just to see if you're on course and whether you need to readjust is super important.
Definitely. And the third little point is ask questions in stand-ups, weekly stand-ups. We love stand-ups at the minute.
Yeah, we've got post-it notes and everything.
Post-it notes,
different coloured
this
post-it notes. It's great, actually.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. So it's good to go a bit analog in a digital world.
Yeah.
And so we put all our tasks on, an individual task goes on a post-it note. The post-it note gets assigned on the board that we have to the different projects. And then every week we just have a stand-up and we talk about those and we see the post-it notes move along and see who's doing what. Again, it does a number of things. It breeds, again, it's the peer accountability thing. 2, everybody gets a sense of momentum, that things are happening, things are moving. Everybody knows where everything's up to. Don't get me wrong, these stand-ups take 5 or 10 minutes. They're not a long event at all. But they are critical to letting people know what is happening and so on and so forth.
Definitely. And ultimately, it's all mentoring.
That's the international symbol of mentoring.
Mentoring. So cool. That was really helpful. We've got 3 steps and you've told us how to do mentoring. So next week. What are we doing next week? Oh, I'm not here. That's what's happening next week. I'm in Jersey, which is why I might see Rach. I'm going to see, because Rach has moved over to Jersey. Yeah. They don't know who Rach is.
So Rach is somebody who used to work with us. It's who you worked with. It's who you mentioned at the start, right? So, so she now lives on the island of Jersey, which I'm going to on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So if I get to catch up with Rach, great. Rach, if you're watching, hi. So we won't have a Facebook Live next week, or that's a long way of actually saying there's no Facebook Live next week. But we will be back in 2 weeks' time to carry on this conversation about team. From what I can see in your notes. It says, Beth gives me notes of what we're going to talk about in the Facebook Live.
These notes have got better, I hope you've noticed.
They've got lots better. And it's really helpful for me.
It's like a book.
And so it's like a book, it is. It takes half an hour to read it. So it says here, join us next week because we are going to, well, not next week, in 2 weeks, because we are going to keep on this theme of leading a team, and we're going to talk about how to organise your e-commerce team. So many people struggle with this fact.
So we're going to get into it a bit deeper. Let's dig in.
We should do a challenge for Beth. Challenge Beth. Can you do a Facebook Live holding your hands together?
No.
The whole...
No, I'll be really
really twitching. So we're going to talk about e-commerce, and I know a lot of people sort of think who do I get? How do I build my team? Who should be on it? How do I monitor them? We've talked a little bit about that today in terms of mentoring and monitoring. It's like how do I get these guys doing what it is they need to do? How do I know they're doing the right thing? All that sort of stuff. We're going to carry on this conversation about building an e-commerce team. So is this part 1 of the team series?
This is part 1, definitely, because this kind of stuff is going to help the e-commerce online business owner who's like, I'm really stuck. There's so many like web developers and confusing things, and all I want to do is do the golfing thing, like the example that you used earlier.
We should maybe just do a
all
whole
this stuff
Facebook Live on how to talk to web developers.
Yeah, that would be good.
And so we could do this thing. I don't know if you've ever read the book, again, slightly off-piste. Yeah. Hold up the words and we explain what they mean, right? Have you read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus?
No.
So this is a book which I read before I got married 20 years ago now. It was an American book, so forgive me, it was very long-winded. It said the same thing 5 times over and over again. But what I do remember from that book, there was 2 key ideas, but one page I remember specifically was, this is what the woman says, this is what the woman means, and this is what the man understands, right? There was like these 3 columns. So the woman says this is what she actually means, and this is what the man understands. And then on the other page, there was the same thing. This is what a man says, this is what it means, this is what the woman understands. 3 completely different things, right?
Yeah.
So we should do one of those for website designers.
Okay. Yeah. That's
What
great.
website designers say, what they mean, and actually what people
we
understand.
hear. Yeah. That's coming up.
Yes, business owners are from Mars, website designers and developers are from Venus.
Yeah.
It's a new book. Do you like the new book, Time?
I like it a lot.
Not as much as I like this. Take me to your leader. Which I noticed when I was looking at the Facebook Live video back on the thing there.
Brilliant.
Was that you or was that Josh?
That was Josh. It's always Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Okay, so hope you got a lot out of this today. So join us in 2 weeks' time. Make sure you sign up to the Facebook notifications if you haven't done so, and you will get to see us in 2 weeks' time as we carry on this whole idea of how to build a team, especially around an e-commerce business. What are some of the things that we should think about? We hope to see you there. Any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below on Facebook, and we will do our level best to answer them. But other than that, there's nothing more to say.
No.
Other than ta-ra for now, and we'll see you in a few weeks.